Like, you know, we've got this swing towards fascism, swing towards racism, going to be destroyed whether I am involved or not. Fascism is a big enough fucking evil that actually I don't need to personally pulled off one hell of a coup and got fascism and white nationalist politics playing centre stage in the West again. That is, and it's just, people vote for Donald Trump. Yay, fascism, you know. It's sort of, you know, it's Natalie Portman's line from, you know, Revenge of the Sith. In the world. He has done more to destroy fascism than America ever did in the Second World War. He has done more than Captain America has ever. Neoliberalism incarnate is better than fascism. You know, a competent woman is better than an incompetent madman. Could now be allied in putting out fascism and Nazism against the world, right? Things are not good. Long game, right? I mean, okay, you know, when it comes to fascism, playing the long game and hoping, oh, well, people will just... But they did their duty. They did their duty because fascism, because Nazism, because racism, people who see political correctness and moderation as fascism can live without admin, can live without moderators. At the moment, right? The reason why we have the rise of fascism now is, oh no, social justice. The reason we've got social, how I can see the appeal of fascism, and how, you know, I very nearly almost wrote a view of, you know, fighting income inequality, fighting fascism, right? When it comes to fighting any of these into power before he broke his promises, before he alienated people, before the fascism started. So yeah, I'm not worried about fascism taking over so much. I mean, obviously, things will change. I think that, to a certain extent, fascism is going to seem more and more reasonable from a political... I will always stand against fascism. I will always stand against could possibly fucking happen, right? It's already happened. Trump got elected. Fascism is on the rise. Things are not good. All of this screaming and shouting and fascism, neoliberalism and revolution, like, capitalism is experiencing a long, slow death rattle. Fascism is on the rise. The economy shudders and jerks as it's happening at the moment. The great fucking cancer. Nationalism isn't going to save you. Fascism isn't going to save you. Neoliberalism isn't going. It worked then, it'll work now, right? Like, you look at the history books. Fascism, racism, it does not work. So, you know, a victory for neoliberalism over fascism, it's a good thing. An impotent, doomed to failure fascism, global socialism, is the only logical way forward. Thank you for sided with the very worst of communistic ideals. Sided gulags, sided fascism to oppose fascism because it was better. Most people just think you're a dick because you're being a dick, right? So fascism, it is what we essentially witnessed was right-wing xenophobia and fascism taken to I'm not needed in the fight against fascism. And I'm not needed. Apocalypse of, climate change, technological automation, fascism, and neoliberalism. Like things are not good. Return to feudalism anymore. And that's what fascism is. Fascism is feudalism by another name. And we are long past that. In Newcastle, a video instantly that I made because people requested it, including the great Fascismo on my YouTube comments. Threat of apocalypse caused by communism, except it wasn't communism, it was fascism by another name. And whilst fascism may be on the rise, whilst climate change may be ticking along in the background and it very swiftly falls to fascism because and fails and goes bankrupt is what we let dying capitalism and always doomed to fail fascism duke it out impotently against the fascism to oppose fascism because it was better to have a sane neoliberalism defeating fascism. That's just saying, yes, you will get fucked over by this kind, it's neoliberalism has defeated fascism to become the president, but this time France, not America. Was such a blatant example of fascism, and yet so utterly incompetent, and actually not necessarily the most fascist in and of himself, right? He had come in as a supposed fascist to take down the fascism from within the fascist party of the Republican Party. But also, logically and rationally, the rise of fascism is something that is going to fail one way or the other. And along the way, we will destroy fascism. Because after all, why accept the flawed? Fascism is going to be destroyed whether I am involved or not. And that essentially a victory for him is a minor victory for fascism, and that we should be working against it. And something truly fucking drastic happens, fascism takes over, great wars break out, these after them, and they needed a way to defend their army without becoming the very fascism that they had. And something is going to come along and replace it. And it's not going to be fascism, because fascism always fails, because you can't. 2 world wars and put either side of the Great Cold War, and they have them in favour of fascism and genocide. But all this fascism does, aside from shit on a whole lot of people and make a lot of people very unhappy, and first I gotta blow my nose. The rise of fascism and anti-establishment sentiment. Chance! This Donald Trump has done more to destroy fascism in America than any anti-fascist in the world. Horror perpetrated by right-wing fascism happened under the mantle of such a very stupid and insane man in this world. I mean, heck, we are already seeing in the rise of fascism that people are ceasing to give a fuck. They are ceasing to. And our society is obsessed with the 1984 style of fascism and dystopia, whereby it is, the vision of been brought up on the idea that fighting fascism is the right and moral thing to do, and that giving your life, I just don't fucking care. Like, there is this part of the rise of fascism has been this big outpouring over, and if you don't like that, if you want to scream about authoritarianism, about fascism, then you can fucking get to... We've already seen the rise of fascism, and we've already now seen the first concentration camp open. In Chechnya it gets less and less, and maybe, you know, neoliberalism and fascism having it out right now so relevant to this sort of hinterground between the issue of fascism and the problem. I am an anti named Hilary Benn decided to give a speech about the need for war, because fascism is wrong, because terrible... Gone up before the world, exposed fascism in the cold light of day, and shown it for the complete load of bullshit that it is.
Starting it off as a kind of jokey, but would you rather fascism or communism, actually saying, no, seriously, like,
At least the system would remain the same if we were to see a rise of fascism, and all the fascists were to turn up, kill off all the... Fascism will save us. And some countries are going to say fascism will save us. But I think that in the West, what we are going to...
the hell back round to kind of fascism. And this one enigmatic figure treating people like shit, you know, like that there are people